In just a moment, we are going to begin service. Now is a great time to make sure all cell phones are on silent or vibrate. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Campbell.
And my name is Morgan.
So Judy was our great aunt, and as we gather here today to remember her, we would like to share a poem in honor of her, one that reflects the kind of person she was. No more goodbyes, just gentle peace. Her soul has found its sweet release. Through tears may fall, we understand. She's free now, held in heaven's hand.
Judy, heart so full and wide, with love she gathered us inside. Her door was open, arms outstretched, a life of warmth so richly etched.
She built a world from kindness true, where family blossomed, friendships grew. She gave without a second thought, and in that giving, grace was taught.
Now let her spirit gently soar beyond the pain, beyond the shore. No longer bound by time or care, she moves with lightness through the air.
She's in the wind, she's in the song, still guiding us as we go on. Not gone but changed, her soul set free. A part of all we'll ever be.
So hold her close in memory bright, and walk in love and walk in light. For Judy's life was love made true, and now that love lives in you. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you for coming. We appreciate your presence. Thank you for the poem. We gather here today in memory, but also in deep gratitude as we honor the life of Judith Eileen Frieman, a beloved mother, daughter, sister, grandmother, and friend. She was definitely the soul of this family. Each soul that comes to this world brings its own unique light. Judy's light was one of warmth, humility, humor, and devotion. She cared deeply for her family and friends, and if you were lucky enough to be counted in that group, to her there was nothing that you could do or time that could pass that would change her unwavering love. My name is Jay Burcham, and I was one of the lucky ones. I got to see this love and generosity firsthand when I married her niece, Michelle Eileen Moore. Middle name coincidence? I don't know. When I married Michelle, Judy was so welcoming. She always hosted all the Jewish family holiday get-togethers, and even though I was the only non-Jew, she always went out of her way to make sure I felt included. I was able to get to know her at that time because I had married her girls, Suzanne and Julia's favorite person, Michelle. We had the girls over quite a bit over the years, from birthdays to Halloween, and remember some Purim carnivals that were pretty crazy. As we got to know her better, I could see her warmth and kindness in the way she hosted holidays and her patience with Michael at the holiday parties. The way she gave advice and nurtured the family traditions. The book of Proverbs says that a woman of valor is hard to find, for her worth is far more than rubies. The Bible also teaches us that memory is not simply recollection. It is a sacred continuation. When we speak her name and share her stories, we bring Judy's presence into this moment. With this in mind, I'm going to open up the floor to anyone that would like to share some more memories to bring her presence. After, of course, I share some more memories that her family shared with me. Judy was born in Rochester, New York. She was the only girl with two older brothers. Her father, Marvin, and her brothers, Bruce and Stuart, were big baseball fans, and her uncle even called games for the minor league team. Anyone that knew Judy knew of her love for baseball. It reminded her of her youth, watching the game with her dad and big brothers. Not only did Judy love baseball, she also had a crush on one of the pitchers, Curtis Laskanik, who she would drive by his house in Florida. Okay. She would write him birthday cards. More things to know about Judy was her incredible work ethic. She started working at Sherman and Howard in 1978 and was still working there when she passed 47 years later. Judy had a beautiful voice. Judy was very good artist and photographer. Judy was a great cook. She was a gracious host and a welcoming heart. She was the glue. She never gave up on people. She was an unconditional caregiver. But at the same time, she was a guard dog. Judy enjoyed gambling in Vegas and up in Black Hawk. And even though she was a notoriously bad driver, she won multiple high-end cars. I remember one very well. It was a silver Porsche 718 Boxster that I still have dreams about. I wanted that car, but she was unbelievably lucky. Most of us will never win one car. She won multiple. A quote that hit me as sort of a baseball pun was Judy always seemed to be at the top of her game, and she called the shots. Not only was I able to be close to Judy during her 31-year marriage to Michael as she raised Suzanne and Julia, I was also able to reconnect with her during her marriage to Bruce because Michelle and I are raising two of her granddaughters, Abby and Jordy. We plan to complete the adoption process later this year. Having the girls with us allowed me to see into the heart of Judy. she made tremendous efforts to spend one-on-one time with her grandchildren, out to eat, out to movies where she would buy them way too much candy. We had to dial that back a little bit. She would just definitely take them to the ballpark to try to foster that love for baseball. She was also one of the first to celebrate each of their accomplishments. Being able to watch her pour into her grandchildren was absolutely something special. She will be truly missed. It is written, who should be honored? Only the ones who honor others. By that measure, let's honor Judy. Not because she sought attention, but because she gave honor to others in the way she listened, comforted, and made space for everyone at her table and in her heart. May her memory be a blessing and a source of inspiration, a source of strength, and a source of comfort. Amen.
Crazy, crazy. Okay. I do not like doing this. So Judy, I know you know how much I love you. Oh, okay. Even worse. Make it a little bit more awkward. Okay. So first off, my name is Sarah Danford. I know a lot of you, some I do not, because my relationship with the Freemans, as I always called them, was complicated. So first though, I think one of the biggest things I want to say about Judy is she was one of the most real and authentic people I have ever met. And I've met some real and authentic people, but she was beautiful in that. You know, sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way, but she was always beautiful in it. So I've known Judy for 32 years, and I have to tell you a little bit of my story to explain the full story. So that's my first caveat. My second caveat is I knew Judy as Michael and Judy. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but that's kind of how I knew her. So that's kind of how I'm going to speak about her. And I hope you guys can forgive me. I know they've been divorced for a while, but I did know Bruce and I got to know him as well. But I really, so much of what they did for me was in the years where it was Michael and Judy. So please bear with me. So my first family exploded when I was a kid. That's just the reality, and that's what happened. So I showed up at 15 on Michael and Judy's door to babysit Suzanne, who was 6, and Julia, who was 2. I think they realized my situation. I didn't have a family. I had just moved from Michigan. And so rather than, you know, talk to me or figure things out or lecture me or anything without judgment, they gave me the unconditional love that I needed. And they gave that to me for 32 years. So I want to tell you a little bit about what I consider my second family, which is the Freemans. That's what I always called them. If you called the house, I would answer the Freeman residence. So that always made Judy laugh. And I know that they were gifted by God to me to support me and care for me throughout all of the tumultuous years of my late teens and 20s until I met my husband and I settled down, which was good too. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a list. It might get a little exhaustive, but I want to give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. So first and foremost, in my heart, is they entrusted me with their children. I love them both dearly. But here are some things that they would do. So they would invite me to dinner all the time. They would just randomly call me up and say, hey, come over for dinner. Let's go to the bowl, that kind of thing. They made time to talk to me about my life. And when they did, there was no lecture. There was no judgment. There was just concern and compassion and listening to me. They invited me on their vacations. We went to Hawaii and had a great time. We went to Vegas. We went to Phoenix. So that was really fun. Very early in my babysitting time, they gave me a key and they said, anytime you need to come, you just come. We have a couch. We have a place for you. They gave me the security of always being there for me. When anything happened, I have a story of, when I ran out of gas and I called Michael and Michael came and he goes, well, just to let you know, the gas station was about half mile that way, Sarah. You could have walked, but he came, he gave me gas. He took care of me. Judy bought my first computer because they knew there was no way that I was going to be able to afford that. I just showed up one day to babysit and she goes, here you go. And she set it up for me, as you all know. She was amazing at that. And she really helped me there. They supported my dream of college. They filled out recommendations for me. They helped me to figure out the application process. When I got to college, and I was babysitting every Saturday, and my car got impounded because that was the kind of kid I was. And so here comes, all of a sudden I get a call and it's Michael and he's like, we're outside. And I'm like, what? So I go outside, Michael and Judy and Suzanne and Julia are in the van and he's like, jump in, we're going to get your car out of impound. That was just kind of how he was and how they were. And Judy was always right there to give all of the gifts that they gave. They never passed judgment. Even when I flunked out of college after my first year, they also let me live with them for a summer while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, which was hard because I was a rambunctious freshman out of college. So they were there when I had a horrible breakup and relationship issues with my family, and Michael was always there to listen. Michael had a similar story to mine, and so he was just always really there. They loved me all the way through my ups and downs in my 20s, and let me tell you, there were ups and downs. This is one of my favorite memories is that I'm a Christian. Actually, back then I wasn't, but I am now. But they would allow me to bring the girls to my house to have Christmas. And that was really huge for me because I was alone. So then they let me live with them again as my life fell apart again. They let me live there for a year, which was way above and beyond. They emotionally supported me through everything. When I met Robert, they were loving, accepting, caring. It was cute because Judy was like, I think he's the one. I'm like, I think he is too. Yeah. And then when I got married, so my mother is gone and my father is absent. And so Michael stood in for my wedding. He gave me away. Judy stood in as my mother. Julie and Suzanne were my bridesmaids. My family was there. And it was so wonderful. Let's see, they paid for my rehearsal dinner. They went to Florida in July, which was not great, but they did it and they didn't complain, which was great. When we had Henry and Elizabeth, they were there. I remember Michael was the first visitor for my kids. Suzanne and Judy came out just after that to help me take care of my kids. They let me stay with them when we came back to Colorado. I mean, I could keep going, but the reality is they were amazing. And I know and I apologize that I can't separate them, but it's not a separation in my head. The unconditional love that I had for 32 years was, in my opinion, God sent. I really believe that God led them into my life, and I believe that he gave them the strength to love me that way. And Judy was an amazing woman. She had a way, and I'm trying to say what Jay said, but she had a way of consistently loving all who crossed her path. Now, I'm not saying she wouldn't say something else later, but the reality was she loved you and she would be loving to you. I couldn't leave that out. I'm sorry. I'm more of an honest person on that. But she taught me how to not give up on people, no matter what. no matter what. And I had come from a place of giving up on people and just not having communication and not talking if there was hardship. And she would just look at me and be like, Sarah, time is short. Time is short and people make mistakes and we just move on. And so I just really wanted to try to give you guys an idea of that because it was so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful things about her. I will forever be grateful for her, and I will work to honor her in every way that I can. I will support the family. I will support the grandbabies. I will support this family as much as I can because I got 32 years with them. So thank you. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm Judy's youngest daughter. I was not going to talk today. Okay, my mom was a pain.
You were too.
I get there. I was a bigger pain. My mom and I butt heads like nobody's business. But at the end of the day, she was there. When my dad passed away, she stepped in. My dad was my person. My mom cared deeply for everybody. If there was a medical emergency, Judy was there. When my twins were born, Itlo was all the way in Castle Rock and I was stuck at Children's and my mom was there. My mom held my hand in the emergency room. My mom held my hand in the C-section until Itlo could get there. She loved her grandkids, all of them. I don't know if you guys have Facebook or on Facebook with my mom, but she would post pictures that I didn't even know she was posting of all of the grandkids. Even if it was just boring back to school pictures. Or when Zachary and the twins all had the same Spider-Man costume accidentally. And she made jokes about it. My mom and dad, sorry, can't separate my mom and dad. I tried. In 33 years, I've tried to separate them and I can't. Their house was a revolving door. My friends had keys, had codes to that house. They would go to my parents' house even when I was gone. I was in Israel and I know friends were in my mom's basement. I was in Arizona for college and friends were there. But my mom just loved. That was the main thing. I would go years without talking to her and I would just pick up the phone and it would be like nothing. I would come home from college and I love to drive, but she wouldn't let me drive by myself. She would make an excuse. I mean, mostly she wanted to go to baseball games. Let's be fully honest. She's going to tell you it was for me. It was not. But we would drive and I would drive and we would stop at Herb and Shelley's house and she would make it fun. She just didn't care. She loved her work, but she put everybody else first. I mean, she was there for 47 years, but also if she had to, she would have left that job to take care of anybody. But I'm just glad to see all of you guys here. She would have loved to know that you guys were here for her. She does know you guys are here. And I don't know, Judy was just one special person.
Hi, I'm Abby Goodman and I'm Judy's first grandchild. I just wanted to talk about a few memories I have about Judy, or as I know her, Gaga. Well, in the beginning, starting in the beginning when I was just a baby, Gaga was never supposed to be called Gaga. As far as I know, she wanted to be called Grandma or something basic like that. But for the life of me, I would not call her Grandma. but instead Papa, which is like her late husband Michael's name, like what I called him. Um, but after lots of trial and error, somehow we ended up with Gaga. Um, as you all must know, Judy was a Rockies fan. So of course, lots of my early memories of mine are at a Rockies game with Gaga, either meeting Dinger, he's the Rockies mascot, or running around the baseball field, or eating my body weight worth of food, especially cotton candy. Um, I remember like it was a tradition for Gaga to always before a game get us peanuts outside the arena. As I grew up hanging out with Gaga, we got into a routine to see her every Saturday. We never ever missed a Saturday unless we were sick or unable to make it. Stuff like that. I remember I remember every time we saw her, we basically played the same two games, headbands and Go Fish. Gaga would buy like us new games, but we rarely played them in comparison to Headbands or Go Fish. Um, Another thing we did on Saturdays and all up until now was watch almost every movie that came out in theaters. And if Gaga couldn't take us to the movie in theaters, the second it was available on TV, we would watch it automatically. But with all fun times, it also came with lots and lots of waiting. So Gaga had two things for me and my sister, Jordy, to do. Either play Connect 4 on her phone or watch one movie and one movie only on her phone. I'm not sure if she had other movies. She probably did, but um and now some Saturdays resulted in going to Costco, in which Gaga, while shopping, would tell me and my sister to go run around and find samples. So me and my sister who would to an extent run around the store grabbing all samples possible. Afterwards, while trying to leave the busy Costco parking lot, Gaga and her not so great driving skills would almost run over at least one person. Um, Gaga would also lose her car frequently in parking lots. And so which resulted in me having a job of always finding her car in parking lots. So Gaga would also get very frustrated at the GPS, which once I got older, she would call the GPS a B word frequently. This led to me doing the job for the GPS by, in my own words, describing where to go. So Gaga would be much calmer during our drives. Now, I don't know if you knew her, but if you really ever paid attention to Judy, she was always chewing gum, or at least what for me she was. But she started to offer me gum constantly, which started my habit at chewing gum as well. So I was chewing gum since I was like 4. I had always had lots and lots of sleepovers at Gaga's. I was always welcome to have a sleepover at her house for days on end. I really pushed to see how long I could have a sleepover at Gaga's and ended up having a week-long sleepover at Gaga's. Um, my memories were her with her could go on and on. I could sit here for hours and talk about Gaga, but I know most of you maybe have had enough. So I will say my last memory that I have about Judy. I had just started to live with Michelle and Jay, and I got a Broncos jersey with the name Judy on the back. And Jay was showing me the jersey and was saying jokingly, "See, this jersey is named after your Gam Gam." In which he meant to say Gaga. After that, it stuck at Michelle and Jay's house. We called her Gam Gam. Then, when we saw her next, we told her, and surprisingly, she actually liked Gam Gam. She started to refer to herself as Gam Gam. It was pretty funny. Now, thank you for listening to me and all my memories with Gaga. I hope you can remember Gaga as positively as I can. Thank you.
We raised our children together. I can't even say her name, but they just start crying. And the weird thing is that my name's Judy. So I've got a real problem with this. But I guess the only word that's left for me to say about Judy is that she was an extraordinary person. And she would be so thrilled, and I know she is, just seeing everybody here. I was fortunate enough to spend the last few hours with her. And she was there. Langdon was there. I've got a black and blue mark from her holding onto my finger, okay? And it's just a series of events that we never know are gonna happen. And just thank you for being here and celebrating her life. You're, you know. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jordy Goodman, and I'm the second grandchild of Judy, as in Gaga. And I just love that she would always put people before her, and that she like never gave up. And I would always remember Michelle or my mom would be just talking to me, and she'd be like, "Oh, look." She would always bring up my baby memories of when I would have sleepovers at our house, and it would always just make my day of seeing me just hanging out with her every when we had sleepovers. And I loved playing games with her. She always would like let me win because she knew that I was really little. And I loved how she always put people before her. If it was a family emergency, if it was a birthday party, she always would show up even if she didn't feel the best. If she like had a surgery coming up, she always would just put herself for other people. And it was and I'm really glad that everyone came because would love just seeing everyone's faces, and it would make her day because she loved hanging out with friends and family. So thank you for coming for her life.
Thank you to those who have shared. If anyone else would like to share.
Hi, my name's Herb. I'm half of Herb and Shelley that Julia mentioned. I've known Judy for 71 years. Judy's mom and my mom were sisters. And I watched that whole family grow up. I watched all the things that they went through, all the trials and tribulations, and all the wonderful things they went through. And to be here today and hear all the wonderful things that you've said about Judy just helps my heart. Thank you. I got it.
family wants to thank you again for coming today in honor of Judy. They're having a gathering after the service here. Everyone's invited, and it's in this room to my right. In honor of Judy, as we end this, I'd like to ask everyone to stand for the 7-inning stretch. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, or it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Thank you.